So, good evening. I'm sorry that I don't have a new intro yet. I started to make one today, but it didn't get finished in time, so we had to use the old intro. Today we have a bankroll of about $200, so I wondered if we should play PLO50 or stick to PLO25. And there has been some questions about whether I play Zoom or normal tables. And before we start, I will show you why I actually don't like PLO Zoom in coachings. Here's the PokerStars lobby, so you can see if we open up Zoom. PLO25 Zoom has players per flop 24%. PLO50 is the same. And down to PLO10 and PLO5 it's close to 30. But in PLO25 it's 24. And when we switch to normal tables, we put them on order and we can actually see that there are like 10, 15, 25 tables open that have higher percentage than the 24 on Zoom. So if we stick to tables of 40 and better, we still have around almost 15 tables that are superior when compared to Zoom. Yours Pro is asking about the delay. We have a 1 minute delay in the stream, and then there's about half a minute from the system, so I think it's around 1.5 minutes in reality. So I think that if you want to make money in poker, especially in PLO, the most of your money comes from the players that have high VPIP, like those VPIP 75 guys. They are the ones who pay your salary. And if you go to the tables that have players per flop like 21, it means most of the pots are heads up or three-way. And majority of the player pool is made of reds and nits who have VPIP of under 30. So it's hard to make a lot of money. In PLO5 Zoom you have tons of calling stations. In PLO10 you have a lot of calling stations, but when you go up to PLO25, PLO50, there's not that much calling stations when compared to normal tables. Like here, if you have tables that have 4% is around 50, it means that the average players on a flop is twice as high as in average Zoom table. Of course, it means that there's going to be a lot of multi-way pots and a lot of pots where you are facing calling stations. And for some players, it creates problems because they don't know how to adjust to calling stations. They might say that Zoom is a lot easier because the players think and they can fold. Yeah, it's easier to play, but it's not easier to make money. So that's one reason why so many players like PLO Zoom, because it's so easy. You don't have to table select, you don't have to change seats, change tables. Just hop in and play as much as you want, and you can sit out at any point. It's so easy. You don't lock your hand, you can auto-fold it and get the next one. You don't have to wait. It's so easy, and so many players like to have things easy, so that's why they like Zoom. Arnimetsa is asking that isn't a bit misleading in a way, because there's always 6 players on the table. But there will be some numbers from short-handed tables in the regular tables. Yeah, it might be misleading, but when the percentage goes up to 85, it means that the sample size for the table is pretty low. But these that have around 40 or 50, yeah, some of the pots are 5-way because someone sat out. But overall, there are more players with high VPIP on normal tables. Because the traffic Of course, there's traffic at micro tables. Some of the hands are with 5 players, but it doesn't explain why this number is twice as high on many tables. And when you find good table, you can be sure that your target players are playing with you on every hand. While in Zoom, let's say you have, I have some green marked players here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 players and the pool is 250 players. So it doesn't mean I'm going to get a green player to my table on every hand. But if I find a good normal table, I can have about, if I have 2 green players on my table, 2 target players, I can have them with me on every hand, which is great advantage in my mind. Average spot, it might be misleading, because if the average spot is like $2, it might mean that all the players are really passive, because some recreational players don't like to raise. They just check and they call and they limp. So even if the average spot is $2, it doesn't mean you can make money, because when you come to the table, you start to open the pots, they will still call the pot, and you value bet flop and turn, they will call. So suddenly you can create big pots with strong hands. While if none of these players is super aggressive, the pot stays relatively small. But yeah, it's something to consider. Also, if the average spot is really high, it often means that there are 2 or 3 maniacs on the table and they just flip 4 stacks on every hand or something like that. I don't really like those tables. Yeah, they are easy to play. You wait for a good hand and you get your stack in, but in PLO, even if you have a monster hand and the money goes in 4-way, you all have around 25%. So it's hard to find EV when the rate is so high. So the thing I use to select tables is just this number. And then when I sit in the table, I try to find as soon as possible if it's profitable or not, or if I have green marked players on the table. But let me see what to start. I think that we might kiss the variance and start up with PLO50 tables. Our bankroll is just over 200, so I think if we lose 50 BBs or more, then we switch back to PLO25 tables. So let me find the filters. Let me see if there's good tables. Yeah, we can take that one and we take that one. And then I think we open 2 tables of 25. There's this Mexican guy who is marked as red player, he's tie player. He seems to be on every single table of PLO25. I have no idea how many tables he's playing, but he probably is playing around 20 tables or so. Either he's a real machine or he's just trying to get money with railback. Not sure. Arnimetsa is asking, do I use any external programs? I don't. I'm too lazy to even find out if they could help me. Because in PLO there's usually like 20 tables where you choose your tables. It's easy to find the good tables yourself, while in Hold'em you might have quite many tables open. Euros Pro has interesting style. He takes the tables with the biggest average spot and then by the smallest hands per hour. Because he said in here that the more players there are on the flop and the looser they are, the less hands per hour there is, and that's actually quite interesting. And I agree. I haven't experimented how does that work in PLO, but it's an interesting thought. So yeah, there was, in a nutshell, why I don't like to play Zoom. It's easy to get a lot of hands, but instead of playing 4 tables of Zoom, if you can play 12 tables, normally you can get almost the same amount of hands per hour. I think there's the limit of 24 tables. I am not sure where the normal limit is, and can you raise it up? Not sure. And you can play 8 Zoom tables, I think. I'm not sure. I think I have played 8 tables of Zoom, or I just remember wrong. Whoops. And Armetsa is asking, what do I think about Urubu 111 prop bet for 500,000 hands in 45 days in mid-stakes, showing a profit? I kinda agree that one reason why they made the bet and why they posted it on 2+2 forums is that they get some publicity. On table 1, Kai donks with the full pot and I have nothing, so there's nothing actually to do. So 500,000 hands, it's definitely possible for him. He's ahead of his schedule. The other thing is that, is it possible mentally? It's definitely possible technically, but he has posted some things that he wants to buy out because he wants his life back, but it sounds strange because he has done similar bets before and he definitely knows what's going to happen if he starts this bet. So I think it's some sort of publicity thing for them. Nuos Pro asks, do I label limpers? I don't. I don't label limpers because it doesn't mean limper is someone I want to play with. Like there are some tight players that like to keep the pot small. They are just afraid of big pots. So, and usually in PLO the money is not made pre-flop, all the money is made post-flop. So if I see someone making loose stuff post-flop, then I'll label him as a green fish. Or if he has high VPIP, that alone is a reason. Yeah, I'm going to open 2 PLO25 tables just to get the 4 tables, because with 4 tables of PLO50 we have half of our bankroll on the tables, and it's just asking for trouble. Here we have a guy opening from small blind I think it's quite profitable spot to call with super wide range. Of course, I don't know anything about my opponent, so it's hard. But when he checks this, either he might have missed it. I don't know anything about it, so I'm betting half a pot, and I think he's going to raise me sometime. He might check call, but he folds, which is actually great. Because ace high flops are really nice to make a c bet, but he didn't. Hominin is a Mexican aggro. I can justify a call in here, which I actually do, because I think that Stanichenko is going to call often and his limper is going to call pretty often. And when it's a four-way pot, I don't have to be that worried about his aggression. Yellow color means aggressive opponent, so he's capable of doing some big bluffs and all kinds of stuff. It's just a sort of warning color to check more about his stats. Here we see that he has 4-bet with ace king 9-3, which is funny 4-bet. Sounds like someone was still thinking, because there isn't the spot where you can 4-bet ace king 9-3 for value. And we hit interesting flop. We have king high flush draw, and queen is our pivot card, which means that almost half of the deck gives us a straight draw. So I'm going to check back here and hit my second nuts on the turn, which is sort of interesting. I'm going to make a small bet, because when they both check, this might look like a bluff. I'm just going to buy the pot. And I don't think, if Hominin raises, I don't think I can fold, because if he has ace high flush draw, I think he's going to c-bet this flop really often. And then I make a small value bet on the river and try to get the value from smaller flushes. And if he raises, it's so hard to believe in a nut flush, so I'm going to call. But he folds, which is nice. And Korpi Sotori asked earlier, how are you? Red wine or white wine? I'm fine, and the wine depends on what to do with it. If I have to drink the wine as wine, it's red, but if I can mix some coke with it, it's white. And if I can put some fruits and juice to it, then it's red wine, because then I can make the Spanish sangria, which is really good. But I'm not a wine person. I can have a red wine with food, it's okay, but I rarely buy wine just to drink it. I'm more of a beer man. On table 3, I'm just going to call. I thought about maybe 3-betting, but out of position, and they both will call out of position 3-way. This hand is not that great on most flops, so I'm just going to see. Let me see. Oops. What happened? Yeah, Airborne cannot be found. I think he's playing 24 table, because he's in just every PLO25 table that I can find. So we are having quality problems. My bit rate is between 600 and 700, or between 600 and 800, so the problem has to be with the just-in streaming. It's actually in here, the hand with hominin, it's actually a spot where I don't think I'm ever bluffing against this sort of aggressive player, because when he goes the turn, he has a lot of smaller flushes in his range. Because if he has, let's say, have a jack-high flush only, he is not going to c-bet it always. So it's really hard to bluff here. Of course, on the turn, if I wouldn't be bluffing the turn either that often. So overall, my betting on turn and river is really unbalanced. I'm not even trying to balance the ranges on PLO50, because this guy here is a recreational player and hominin is sort of aggressive. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to play enough hands with him that he can exploit me. Because now he doesn't know if I bluffed him or not. Corpisotri says he would have bet the king high flush draw and straight draw and backdoor flush draw because preflop raiser is often check folding. Yeah, the problem is that this guy is sort of aggressive. He might check raise me or he might check call me, and the problem is that if I bet the flop, I'm being in a big pot and I don't have that many outs, because if the club comes, or diamond, sorry, if the diamond comes and the flush hits, it's not that easy to play against the aggressive opponent, because he might overplay his jack high flush if he thinks his flush draw is alive. So then I'm being in a big pot with the king high flush. If I had some more outs, like if I had enough outs or equity to stand a check raise, then I would have bet, of course. But now I don't want anyone to check raise me, because I have to fold with just the flush draw and the backdoor draws, because I didn't have a straight draw on the flop. And here we have sort of calling station, so sort of unbalanced bet size again, but against VPIP50 guy you don't have to balance anything. On the turn, if I had, Jospro is asking, if I had ace high flush draw, flush on the turn, would I check it on the flop? It kind of depends what the other cards are. If I have any other equity, I might bet it. Because then I know if the flush comes, I have the nuts. And here again, I missed the flop completely, but I make a half a pot c-bet. It's just, if I check, I'm just going to ask for problems. Yeah, turn gives me a flush draw sometimes, but it's hard to call the turn bet with just the flush draw. So I rather bet the flop and sometimes win the pot like now and keep things simple. I don't know what the stream quality is, so if you think it's poor or it's too bad to watch, just say in the chat, so we are having a break and try to fix things. Although I don't know what to do, but maybe we'll figure out something. Yeah, he should c-bet, but the thing is that hominin has c-bet. He had 55 on the hand, which is sort of low, he sometimes gets creative on the flop. And I can't stand a check raise, which means if I have a hand that has a lot of equity but it can't stand a check raise, then check back is a valid option. On table 3, I have not flush draw and not open-ended straight draw. I'm definitely betting it, and I have VPIP 47 guy, which is great. If he has the 5-6, he might shove the turn and I can free roll him. Now I have the nuts on the river, so I think I'm going to check raise him. Because if he has a flush, he should bet it. And he does, and let's go under 20. And he folds. Might be bluffing, might have weak hand. But when he folded so fast, I don't think he had a flush there. But anyway, I kind of $5 on him for checking the river. If he doesn't have a flush, he's going to fold the river. But I think on that hand, when he calls the flop and when he calls the turn, he has the flush draw very, very often. Here I am against sort of call happy player, so I'm value betting aces on the flop, because on the flop his calling range is widest. Often people call with overpair at least the flop, and then on the turn and river they might think that they might be beat. Here Shorty from Greece donks the flop. I have a cut shot and middle pair, which isn't enough to call, especially when there's a bigger stack still left to act. So yeah, Corpus tries to semi-bluff. The problem is that one player is recreational player and the other one is aggressive regular, so it's not the spot where I would semi-bluff with just the flush draw and tons of backdoor equity. Here we take a free turn, spike the flush, and see what happens. Nah, too many regulars on that table. And Alfred bets. I'm going to call a turn, and if he barrels, I have also the straight flush draw, but if he bets the river, I think I'm going to fold. And on table 3, not sure. I think you can fold these sort of bad queens. And he bets half a pot on the river, which really much looks like a flush. If he has some sort of set or straight and he got the straight, I think he's going to check the river often. So my minimum flush isn't good on the river anymore. Where did I fold queens on cutoff? When you comment the hand, please state what table it is, because I can't remember. The thing is that with kings, you have to be afraid of only one overcard when you hit the set. With queens, you have to be afraid of two overcards when you hit the set. And queen high flush is a lot worse than king high flush. Because with king high flush, You have to be afraid of only ace high flush, and you can get value from queen high and jack high flushes. People often treat Broadway flushes like jack high, queen high, king high, ace high, treat them as good ones. But with queen high flush, you won't get big value from jack high flush, but you lose to ace high and king high flushes. So there's a big difference in PLO between king high flush and queen high flush. Here, when the grease guy shoves the turn, I have to give him credit because there's one caller also. And David, I would have hit the king on the river, and this is where the fish players would say, why didn't I call? We didn't call because we had the worst hand, and this suit bubble, well, yeah, he just can't fold aces. Table 2 a few moments ago, let me check what have I done. It's not the cutoff. It's from hijack and it's kind of because this one is sit out. I think I should have opened. I probably was explaining something and I just looked at I'm in the middle position. I wouldn't open queen from this position if there was a player, but now when it's 5-way and I'm kind of, yeah, I can, it's openable. And this guy bets again for a pot and he checks the flop. Quite aggressive player. The problem is that my hand isn't going to improve. And he probably bets the river again. Which means that if I don't hit the king 5 or deuce, there's probably bad river cards for me. So around 90% of the time the river card is bad for me, and if I go on the turn I really have to go to river, so I'm going to fold this bottom 2 actually. On table 3 we are probably getting the money in with the nuts, which is always a great thing, and it's a rainbow flop which is really, really nice, and there's a wrap and a set, and we hit the full house on the river and one nice 300 BB pot. David was asking, in Hold'em the normal aggression in every street is 45, 35, 25. In PLO, I think it goes, we have this side player. Yeah, I'm going to open up this hand on table 4. We have it in the heart in here on the second bottom row. First is the flop aggression, turn aggression, river aggression. And on table 2, when he raises me, he min raises, which kinda sucks because it gives us great price to draw our flush draw and the cut shot, but we might be drawing dead. I'm going to call, and I think if he has 2 pairs, he probably checks it behind. And he bets quite big, which it's hard to believe he makes that bet with ace 5 or ace 3, which are the only hands we beat. We don't have any information on him, so against unknown, I have to assume that min raise is a strong hand. Might be 2-4, so I'm going to just fold it. Yeah, normal aggression frequency. We don't have a lot of regulars. We have TY2U, which is sort of aggressive. He has around 60% on every street. In PLO, usually with the regs, the turn and river aggression is higher because good players don't often go to the river without a hand. Yeah, blind versus blind, table 3. Yeah, this is a crappy hand. In PLO ace king is useless, it sucks, and this hand, the opponent folds blind versus blind, he folds only around 30%, so I'm not making profit with just opening any hand. And he is 30 and 18, which means he's sort of thinking player. And heads up what in PLO, out of position against thinking player, it's really hard to make profit, even with the monster hand. It's so hard to make a profit even if your range is super tight, because the position is so good and he's a player that can use position. So this hand just creates problem. There's not much you can hit that is equivalent to nuts. Often what this hand will hit is king high flush draw with one blocker, maybe a pair and cut shot, maybe top pair, top kicker, sometimes two pairs. All of those are hands that can't really stand aggression. So if he uses his position and creates a pressure to me, with this hand I have to bet fold or check fold so many flops that I can't see it's profitable to open against this type of player. If he's a calling station or tighter player, I would definitely open. But the high card value is not there for this player or against this player. On table 4 he 3-bets me. We know he 3-bets out of position, double pairs, high cards. And this flop hits his high card a lot. He 2 pairs might have flush draw. It hit his range so hard that when I don't have anything, I'm not going to bluff. If I had some good turn cards for me, I might raise here, but now it's just flop isn't good for me. If it was something like king 4-3, then I might raise him. But when there's king and queen, it's kind of flop that hits him quite often. We just can't find a PLO50 table. Trying to see if there are any familiar faces. Anyway, well, let's go to this one. There's this one Russian regular. In PLO, you don't want to play heads up out of position. That's why I'm open folding a lot of small blinds if the player has high VPIP. And I don't have a hand. Of course, I'm opening with my value hands, but like there, king queen 7-3 is total garbage, and the opponent, even small sample size, VPIP 40, so he's probably going to call. Now when we are on button and we have the position, it's totally different story. Because in here we can pretty much open almost any 4 cards with 2.5. And now I'm going to take this table. Because there's a green player, and how much we can 2 and I'm going to flat call, because with the 3-bet on table 3 I create a awkward SPR on the flop and he puts me on aces. Now my aces are sort of hidden. On table 4 we call for the equity. I'm going to just call here and let him barrel. I have the 3-6 and if he bets the turn, not sure. That 8 is sort of bad card to bluff, because I might have 6-7 in my range a lot when I call this flop. But he checks, so I'm going to check call. Because he doesn't have much in his range that he can call my bet on the river. Maybe some 2 pairs or set of 5s or 4s call some, but yeah, he had a weak ace. So if the turn was, let's say it was 9 or higher, I would have check raised him for sure, but the 8 is just a bad card for him to bluff that, yeah, he checks behind. Not sure if he would have called the river bet with the weak ace. My burgers. I suppose New Lost Pro is referring to my Super Bowl burgers. Not sure if that's the case. It's pretty much the only burgers I have put pictures. But yeah, burger needs bacon. Bacon is, it's like, well, nothing comes to my mind, but bacon is something you can put to anywhere. I mean, there isn't a food that bacon wouldn't improve. Even a fish soup loves bacon. But in burger, you gotta have bacon. And the beef sticks, actually for Super Bowl burgers, I was in a hurry. So I had to buy a pre-made. I don't know actually the word for the stuff that you make your minced meat burgers. It's not minced meat, it's minced meat with all the ingredients to make the stuff that you bake your beefs from. In Finnish it's taikina, but not sure. Normally I make the beefs from minced meat myself, but with the Super Bowl I was running late, so I had to buy the pre-made stuff. David, yeah, he 3-bets all kinds of stuff, and I have kings and he's shorty, so I'm just going to shove. Yeah, some of the time he shows aces, but I don't like to call. I have to stack off on almost any flop, but I get it in, and I suppose I'm doing at least EV0 in his range. And if I can stack him off and make him leave, it's all good for me. And when he just calls and has $3, we shove any flop, and he has queens, which means that we are pretty much crushing him. And it's funny, why didn't he shove pre-flop if he's going broke on almost any flop? Strange. Yeah, if our meeting is held in a cabin, I can make the burgers for free if someone buys the ingredients. Swedish guy opens. I'm going to isolate him because my hand plays better in heads up than it would play in multi-way pot. Yeah, but there's the Greece guy who just shoves and he shoves, and it's actually, if I know that this guy has aces often, it would be auto call. But now the call has pretty much EV0, so it's just how much do we love variance. And I'm needy today, so I'm going to fold because his range is wider than aces. It's kind of close. I think if we put it to the Equilab and see the equities, we get close to 35-40%, which is needed. Here we have a nut flush draw, backdoor nut flush draw, and all kinds of stuff, and $5, so we call. And he has the ace, which sucks, but of course we suck out, and he sucks out on us, so it's a suck out of a suck out. It happens. But he seems that he's tilting because he's trying to get it in with almost any hand. I think the best beef for burger is something that you make yourself. Here against the TY2U, I'm going to raise the flop as a semi-bluff probably. But he checks, it's kind of strange, so let's see how many barrels we have to fire. We have two recreational players, so I'm opening full pot from the button with aces. And here we have a 3-bet. Although we have a pair in our hand, I think I can call. It's really close. We are deep with the freeless, but we don't have that much nut potential with our hand, and to this flop we are getting it in. And on table 4, if this miracle bets the river, I'm going to call with my 2 pairs. Because when he dons the flop, it looks like he has a flush draw or with 2 pairs, and he's never value betting jack deuce on the river in my mind. And he had just a 10 high flush draw. The ingredients for beef is minced meat, some bread, can be older bread, some milk or cream, and onions, and some seasoning. That's all. And one raw egg. It's as easy as that. You just make sure the minced meat is warm. You can't cook with the cold meat. And then you crumble the bread to the cream and let it be there for a minute or 2, and then you mix it up all together and make the beefs and put them to the frying pan, and there you go. Yeah, but bacon. You can put bacon in the burger on the top and bottom and middle, and then some. And one thing to make a great burger is the cheese. When the cheese is good one, it really gives the burger the taste. Normally people use cheddar, but you can use some other types of cheese to create really good flavors. And one thing I hate in burgers normally is that, especially if you buy a burger from the grill, they put so much sausages and stuff to it that you can't even taste the beef. It's just ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, and all kind of stuff. So when I make burgers, I try to steal the pot on table 4. We risk $1 to win $2.25, so if we win the pot half of the time, it's great. And usually if they call, they have an overpair, but often they are just check folding. So when I make a burger, I put some ketchup and some barbecue sauce, just the minimum amount. So I really want to taste the beef. If I make the beef, I don't make beast. I make beef, and it's made with love and patience. I want to taste it. And I want to taste the bacon, and I want to taste the cheese, so it doesn't really need that much sausages. There was actually, now I remember, I had some sort of poker game in my blog. It was, I promised to reveal the trick. No one has asked for it, but here we go. So, how to get a free beer in a bar. If you have a deck of cards, you can give the deck to your friend and tell him to shuffle it. Shuffled deck works best. Then the idea is that you play poker and both of you select 5 hidden cards from the deck to create a poker hand. And the one who starts picks 1 card, and then the other picks 5 cards, and the starter picks 4 cards. And your friend might be suspicious that now something funny is going on, so you can tell him that he can decide if he starts or if he's the second one. And in theory, the one who starts cannot win the game if they both know what they are doing. So I think that sometimes you are not going to win, but against most of the normal people at the bar or pub, you are going to win. If they look like Ilari Sahamies or Arni Metsä, then don't do it, but if they look like me, you can do it anytime. So let's say if you can be the first one to pick, what card would you pick from the deck when you know the rules? Here we have aces that we can 4-bet to $11.50. It creates, we would have $40 and the pot would be $20, which is sort of close. And with SPR2, I'm going to be in a really bad spot, so I'm just going to call. And on table 2 I have bad kings, which I'm going to fold to a 3-bet. Because the pair of kings means I don't hit the flop that often, and I have to be afraid of some aces. It's his first 3-bet. And here Theo is c-betting for half a pot, which means he's c-betting 80% of the time. He might c-bet this with a lot of hands, but when he's out of position against 2 people, he probably has something to this board, and I have nothing. So I'm just going to fold aces, and to Hold'em players, this might look funny that we just call aces and happily fold it to a flop, but in PLO aces aren't that great to this flop. I have to fold so many turns and so many rivers that it sucks. And table 3, I'm going to call one street and see what he does on the turn. And he checks the turn. The thing is that either he has air or he has a bluff catcher. If I bet, it looks like I have a flush draw which missed, so he's going to call me pretty lightly, and my hand didn't improve at all. So I'm going to check the turn and give him the pot. I think he would have called with the king very often. And here the Viper shoves the river and Swedish guy calls, which means he has flush often, and I have only 6 high flush. Well, he had a 5 high flush, which is worse, but the Viper had the nut flush. Here we have a 7, 8, 9. We have 13 outer nut wrap and the flush draw, so happy to put the money in. Yeah, sausage. No sausages for the burger. Well, you can put sausages to the burger too, but that's a sausage burger. And random 8 is not the best card to start, trust me. Here I'm going to bluff the river with C. I don't have to shove. If he has flush draw, he's going to fold. And when he shoves, he definitely beats my 9 high. And on table 4, I'm value betting because the flush came and this is sort of replacing a player. If he has a nut flush, he might call me on the river. He is out of position, c-bet is 15. So his 3-betting range is really wide. But the reason why I didn't 4-bet is he puts me on aces for sure for cold 3-betting, cold 4-betting. So, and the SPR is 2, which creates a problem because in SPR 2, if I stack off to most of the flops, he's going to exploit me. And here this Alfred again check raises me on the turn with the min raise. But I have enough equity to call. But he has check raised me a couple of times out of position. And he shoves the river. His line is really weird. I have no idea if he's bluffing the river, but I don't have a bluff catcher and I don't want to shove. So there's nothing to do, but I'll make a note on him that he calls flop and put some question marks, so it's not a read, it's something to think about. And on table 4, when the flush comes, I have to check he has the flush so often. Yeah, I might have said sausages instead of sauce. Who knows? But normal burgers shouldn't have sausages in them. And with 9, 8, 7, 6, blah blah blah. I think it was in here. The reason why I need out is it's a limp spot. So no one is pre-flop aggressor, so no one is supposed to make a c-bet. So often when I check, the flop goes check, 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 check. Only hands people bet here are overpairs with the flush draw, sets and all kind of hands. So I have such a huge draw that I'm happy to bet here. And if someone raises me, they pretty much all the time have a set, because I block all the big draws. No one raises me here with the overpair and the flush draw. So if someone raises me, I know I can set and I can make super plus EV call, because I can play perfectly. And if someone calls and I hit one of my 9 straight outs that doesn't complete the flush, I can make a big turn bet, which is great. Elpion raises me, which worries me a lot, because he's such a tight player. He's never raising here unless he has a set or higher flush draw, and Viper calls me, so he often has higher flush draw, so I'm going to fold my top and bottom with the queen high flush draw here. Yeah, we select the cards from the entire deck, so you have a deck of cards and the starter takes 1 card out of it and gives the deck back to the other player. And on the flop, when we have a huge draw with 9-8-7-6, when we have a huge draw and opponent raises us on a limp spot on the flop, he probably has a set almost always. So I'm treating his raise as a set because I block all the other hands that he might raise me with. So I'm not going to shove the flop. Yeah, we are flipping against the set, but we get much more value by just calling, because the opponent can't fold on any turn. Even if the flush comes, he just can't fold. Here I'm going to call turn. And if he bets, it sucks. It sucks big time. And he checks. I think I'm going to check behind because I blocked the queen high flush. And he bets the turn. He has trips in his range, so I'm going to bet fold this river actually. He has trips and he has smaller flushes. He might have 10 high flush that he calls, and he snap calls me. And he has 7 high flush, which is really bad call in my mind. Both players can't get royals because I don't know how much you have played 5-card poker, but if both players have a flush or royal flush, it comes to the suits and heart wins. Then the spades, diamonds and clubs. So royal flush with hearts is better than royal flush with spades. So it can't be a tie. And the royal flush is the best possible hand, so when you pick the first card, if you don't block the royal flush, then your opponent can pick the royal flush. So obviously if you pick the first card, you have to pick something from ace of hearts to 10 of hearts. And if you pick ace of hearts, your opponent is probably going to pick king of hearts and downwards to 9 of hearts. So the only way to block your opponents from having the nuts is to have a 10 of hearts. So if you start, you take 10 of hearts. And if you are second, when you get the deck, you see if 10 of hearts is in the deck. And if the 10 of hearts is in the deck, it means that you can create a nut straight flush. If he has ace of hearts, you pick king of hearts to 9 of hearts and you win. If your opponent is clever enough and he chose 10 of hearts, then you just have to pick 4 aces and 9 of hearts, which means your opponent cannot have a straight flush and your 4 aces win. So if the second player knows what he's doing, he can win it always. So there's no possibility for the first player to win. But I would bet that if you go to a local bar and to any 40-year-old dude you propose this, he's not going to pick 10 of hearts, he's going to pick ace. Because ace is the best card. And he probably wants to start, or he wants to be the, well, I don't know. He might want to be the second, but then you just pick 10 of hearts and I would assume that unless he is a professional poker player, or at least a player who has learned poker a lot, he doesn't even think about in a way we do. Because when we see this game, we obviously think, what are the nuts? And if I'm the first one, how can I block the nuts? So for us it's easy to know what to do, but for 45-year-old construction worker, it's not that easy. So you can get free beer from your friends. If we don't take 10 of hearts, then the opponent can take a better hand that there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, if you start and your opponent knows what to do, you are never going to win. So, yeah, it sucks, but the good thing is that 99% of the people don't know how to solve the game. On table 1 we have 3 queens, which I'm going to fold. Funny bet sizing on table 4 with Alfred, and man, I'm giving him a queen. He really overplays aces. And the fact he has check raised us on so many turns that... Yeah, this is a lesson how not to play aces. This flop is super bad for c-betting. There are 2 players and king queen suited really hits their range, so he's betting half a pot flop, half a pot turn, and half a pot river. And yeah, he fell in love with his aces. He didn't have even any draws. If I were the opponent, I would have just raised the flop, because Alfred probably gets it in with aces, because he just loves aces. And Elbelon folds. Well, he folds often enough so that I can make half a pot c-bet. And he raises. He check raises 1 out of 6 times so far in 3-bet pots, and he's sort of tight. He's playing 24 tables. I don't think he's ever raising here with total bluff. He might have a straight, he might have 2 pairs and some draw, he might have not flush draw. Whatever his range is, I'm crushed. So when the flop is this, I'm never bet calling. I think I have a range that I should have opened this misclick for me, sorry. I think I'm betting here with the hands that, well, I might be just calling with some hands, but basically my hand is polarized. I have a strong hand that I am happy to play a big pot with, and I have total air. Like if I have just the nut flush draw, I would check back here against this player. Well, you can change that the first guy picks 2 cards or 3 cards. It's still, if he picks 1 card, it's easier for you to see what he picked, because the deck has to be shuffled. So if you give him a 4 card, it takes ages for you to see what 4 cards he took, because it doesn't really matter if he shows them to you or not, but if he doesn't have to show, it creates an illusion that he has better chances. And if it takes long for you to shuffle through the deck, it's most of the recreational poker players at bars, they don't like to wait. Like if you go there and I have this great trick, and then for the next 15 minutes you are going through the deck, it kills the interest. So with one card, it's still fast, and as he doesn't have to show the card, and you go quickly through the deck, he doesn't even realize that you are looking if he took the 10 of hearts or not. Here we don't have much stats, so I'm going to value bet this flop, and if he raises, then I'm going to fold. On the turn, I'm going to value bet again. I have overpair and a flush, which is really nice. And on river, I have relative nuts. Yeah, I'm going to lose to some 5-3 king 3 combos. But I'm blocking the queen high flush, which means that there's not much he's going to pay me off. He might pay me off with ace king sometimes. He might call me with some smaller flushes, but I could have made smaller bet on river actually. Because his calling range is super thin. I think something like $5.50 or $6 is the maximum to bet in here, because his calling range is pretty much ace king, sometimes king 5 type of hand. Because the universal poker concept is that the smaller we bet, the wider the opponent's calling range is. Now let's open one PLO50 table. Oh, there we have it. We have seen things, which is an green player. Now we have the seen things. Where's his stats here? His stats are 23-14, and we talked about this last week. Someone might ask why he has a green color, and when this type of regular has green color, it means that he calls too easily. It's like he's calling 3 bets with 10-10, 7-5 type of hands. That's one of the most common errors. Another thing is that he calls down post flop too easily. Here I'm not going to fold against Alfred on flop check raise. But if he bets this turn, I'm going to fold. And he checks back. Sucks. I think. And he bets full pot. He has been super aggressive. And he probably has a 10 on his value range. He has raised 7. I'm going to call and see that he has 10-8. Actually, he has 10-4. He has all the cards in his hand. It kind of sucks when player has, like here, well, it's a second check raise on him, but he has bullied us a lot. He has check raised on almost every pot that we are with him. He check raised us on the turn. He has bet the rivers. He has been super aggressive, and it usually happens that either he's running really hot, or the one time that we make a bluff catcher, he has the ultimate nuts. Yeah, in Zoom, as Animetsa said, one of the great things is that you can reload your stacks to 100 pp's and get back to the action. Because PLO with 200 pp's is totally different game than PLO with 100 pp's. Here I'm just going to bet 3 streets. Because if he has a flush, he's going to call, and I'm not sure. I don't have any information on him, so I'm not going to assume that he starts to bluff me if I check the turn. And when he has a flush, I just misvalue. On table 4, we picked 13 out of wrap, but with only 9 outs. Because the flush is there, but we can definitely call. And make a move and check raise him on the turn. And he folds. Because when the heart comes, it's good card to barrel. It actually at micros, PLO25 and PLO10, it works really good when you barrel. Now the Elpelon has changed to tournament. Didn't even notice because he has the red color too. We flop the nuts and we make small c-bet to create an illusion of folding equity. So someone might raise us with the set or 2 pairs. And I'm never folding against grab even if he shoves there. Five-way, I'm opening medium queens because there's this calling station on my left. And on 2, I'm calling with my top pair to Alfred, but the flush comes, so if he bets the river, I'm folding, but he checks back and I win the pot. He didn't have almost anything. Here I have the nut blockers and the nut flush draw, so when you have a nut flush draw, I think it's sort of safe hand to bet, because when it's a 3-way pot or more, because if it's going to be 3-way all-in, you always have the odds with the nut flush draw. So even if this guy raises and this one raises back, you can still call or get it in with the nut flush draw easily. About rat holing in PLO, I always tell my students that if they want to learn PLO, they should play with 100 pp's. At micros, it's super hard to make profit with the small stack system because the rate is so high and the preflop equities are so close to each other. And with 50 pp's, it's totally different game than with 100 pp's. Because with 50 pp's, you don't have to face any tough turn or river decisions. And in PLO, with 100 pp stacks, the turn and river are the ones where you either make money or lose money. Preflop and flop are sort of easy to play. It's hard to make a huge mistake preflop or flop. But on the turn, it's the most important street. That's where most of the mistakes are made. And when you make a mistake on the turn, it leads to a even bigger mistake on the river. But I think it's a real improvement as sites are raising up the minimum buy-in. I hate this Alfred guy already. Now he folds. He has folded only 14% to our C-bets, but now he finally folded. The sides have increased the minimum buy-in, which is 40 or 50 BPs nowadays. And number one, I refuse to open the button because there's a calling station, and with this crappy hand it's hard to make profit. Because against these calling stations you sort of have to hit the flop. But if the opponents are tied, I might open any 4 from the button. I have a stat in here how often they fold. It's on the middle lines. It's how often he folds small blind on button open and how often he folds big blind. And I have used those stats when I played Zoom, because in Zoom people follow up their tendencies a lot more than in normal tables. So if they don't like to play from the blinds, they fold pretty much all the time. Here we have double paired hands, and such small probably has aces or kings, but we have nice equity to call, and we see if we hit the set, and if we don't, then we check the equity. We have 4 outs, which gives us around 17%, and to call $9 into pot of 50 we need around 20 or something, so it's kinda close, but I think it's a call, because he shouldn't have full house ever. And we didn't hit the hands. I had 19%, which is actually enough to justify the call. And even at 10, it gives us at least few percent equity from the backdoor straight draw. Oops, sorry. And I don't know, Sachmo gave us thumbs up. He might think that our flop call was bad. It was plus EV call. Sort of marginal, but well, yeah, he shouldn't have a lot of non-aces in his range, but he might have ace-king, queen, jack, double suited type of hand at least 100 times or so, which gives us a little more equity, but yeah, it's close. The reason why I didn't shove pre-flop is that he can't fold on any flops and I can fold on some flops. Like if there's ace on the flop, I can fold. If the flop is 10-10-10, I can fold. Because his range is pretty much aces. So even if I'm going to stack off 99% of the flops, the EV for I'm going to call. Yeah. I don't know about 3-betting, but with this hand it creates not so nice spots post flop, because we are 200 BPs deep. Here it's when we have a nut flush draw and a cut shot to the nuts, no one can raise us to fold, so we can pretty much whatever we do, as long as we are not folding, it's okay. And they both folded. And I think he made a wise choice. He set out when we are 200 BPs deep. he didn't want to play with us. I think it's a great decision on him. It's not the best spot to be on my right side, 200 pips deep. There's interesting conversation about rat holing and is it good or not. I think bum hunting is something that has killed heads-up games, more or less. You Lost Pro is actually a heads-up specialist. So I would like to know what is your opinion on bum hunting, heads-up cash games. Because to me it looks silly when you open up the lobby and in a heads-up tables there's 15 regulars waiting for an opponent. So if this recreational player wants to play some heads-up on Friday evening, he goes to find a heads-up table and he sees there are 15 players waiting for him. So it's not the greatest thing. So that's why I think that those heads-up zoom tables are a good thing for poker. Or some anonymous heads-up tables. Here I don't expect him to have a full house ever. So I'm going to bet the river. But if he calls me with the flush, it looks silly, and yeah, he has the nut flush. I don't think he's going to fold on the turn, and now he's not folding river, so I make a note, so next time I'm just value betting full pot on him on the river. If I bluff the turn, I have to bet the river, although he often calls the river when he calls the turn, but if he was calling on the flop to draw a flush, he's never folding on the turn when he hits his flush. It's just basic poker psychology. If you pay to draw something, you don't want to fold when you hit that something. But on the river, a reasonable player should at least think about folding, but he didn't. I haven't checked how well we are doing. After we lost here on table 3, I think we are close to break even or slightly losing money, but we haven't lost 200, so I say we keep this table for 10 or 15 minutes and then we close the books. Here on table 3, I'm going to stab the river because no one bet the turn, so there should be enough folding equity on the river. And when they both check, neither one of them probably has a flush, so the pot is just waiting for me to pick it up. And on table 2, on these boards, the standard is to make half a pot value bet with your whole range, so people are starting to call with pretty wide range on those monotone boards. So I'm going to see bet with all my flushes there, because people call with 1 pair, 2 pairs, straight draws, all kind of crappy hands. And he bets full pot, which is sort of representing a strong hand. Interesting to see what he has. Wow. Maybe he has aces. Would make sense. The turn check is, I don't know what his hand is, but the turn check is, well, obviously I'm going to mark him green because he's not a thinking player. Because if he would be a thinking player, he shouldn't really have a range that C bets full pot on the flop against 3 people and then on the black turn checks back and gives a free card to all the draws. So he's probably a player that we are going to make money out of him in the long run. This is a very interesting table. We have 2 green players and both of them are not calling stations but loose players, and then we have the hominin. We are in the middle of sandwich. It's like we are the bacon on this sandwich. And these are our buns and this is our beef. And here we have min 3 bet. Of course we are going to call, there's no reason to shove. And we flop top pair and the cut shot. And I call and see what he does. Because if he shoves we are in a bad shape, so we can fold. But against this guy we are doing pretty okay. And we are ahead of him, and let's see if our hand holds up, and it does. Here on table 4, I'm going to check and maybe make him bluff. Because if he has a 3, then it doesn't matter if I bet or he bets. So, but when I check, I'm going to just and he had a 3. It sucks because he folds on 25% of the flop, so he's calling there with super wide range. And when I open the door for bluffing, I don't think I can call turn and fold river. But yeah, he happened to have the trips. It happens quite often in PLO. On table 1 we have aces. Let's see if we can get any action. Nope. Now we don't have much. I'm not sure if there were some other things that I was supposed to talk about. If I have forgot something, just let me know. This Pavel red is kind of tight. He has almost 100 hands and he is 17 and 9. Roman Poe, PLO50 is my friend. And this one is my friend. PLO50 is my friend. We have a decent hand on Themo 2. The problem is when we miss the flop, I think I'm going to check back and see if the turn improves me. And he is really passive on the turn, so I'm making a delayed c-bet. In his calling range, there's a lot of hands that I beat, and even if he calls me with two pairs, I have a lot of equity to get a better hand, but the ace kind of sucks. I have the nut blockers, but as we saw, he doesn't really care. And he has an ace-5, which means that we were ahead of him on the turn, but he had a couple of thousand outs. Here, Skippo 3-bets us. We know he's 3-betting. He's pretty much has been aces on the showdown. So let's suppose his 3-bet range is sort of aces. So now we just see if his range is aces, we have a lot of equity on the turn. So let's take a free river card and miss it and give it a pot to him. No, he had 10, 7, 6, 5, which is nice to know now. And I have this thing in Poker Tracker that makes automatic notes. It doesn't make them now, it creates them later. I think when I restart my Poker Tracker, it makes the notes automatically what his 3-bet range is in position and out of position, and 4-bet range. Now we haven't got any hands, and I think we can play 1 or 2 orbits and then we're going to close and see. I think we lost some money today. There were kind of 3 key pots. One was when this guy had a trips, and then on PLO50 Alfred had the monster nuts against us when we decided to take a stand, and this RASN refused to fold his flush on 3-barrel on a pair flop. Which is something nice to know about him, because when we have now noted on him that on, well, it's in Finnish, some of you don't understand, on a pair flop, he is going to call the flop raise with the flush draw, and when the flush comes, he's calling turn, calling river. When we have the full house, we can make big raises because we know he's calling with flush. He's not even thinking about folding, which means that eventually we are not going to make the same bluff again against him. We save money on that, and when we have the full house, we are going to get huge value. So in the long run, even if we lost the money today, I think we are going to get it back in the long run with just that one note. On table 4, we have decent hand. If it was suited to the ace, it would be monster. Now it's just decent. And we flop top pair and neat guy donks. He has been donking. Two out of 3 times, but the sample size is really, really small. Yeah. There aren't many turn cards that I like, so instead of putting myself into turn spot where I have to check fold, I'm just giving up the flop. And when he checks the turn, he probably has a not flush draw of some kind. Or he might have the set of tens. I think Arimetsa has point in his. I haven't followed the whole conversation, but the idea that whatever poker economy decides to do, it should be to make the life better for recreational players. If there aren't recreational players on the tables, the poker would die pretty soon. Because when regulars are playing against regulars, the house wins. So someone has to bring the money to the machine, and that's where recreational players are so important. And if they are happy and they are playing to get good feelings, memories, emotions, they are not playing to win the money. It's of course nice if they win, but the reason why they are playing is not to make money. They want to have fun, and the more fun they have, the more money it creates. I don't know why this has been labeled neatly. I take away the label. Thought about making a move here, but jacking is just. It's so easy to hit some part of it, and I don't know how often he folds. Now this table 2 is even better. There's a third guy with the green. This is really profitable table. It's too bad we have to stop now. So it's almost 11, so I'm going to sit out on the next big blind so we can close the session. Here we have just the middle pair and the cut shot, and he's not really folding a lot, so I'm going to take a free river card, turn card, which improves my hand, so I'm making a semi-bluff on the turn. And on the river, I think if he has a hand that beats me, he's not going to fold it on the river. But my pair of eights is good. Skip all 3-bets as we have great hands to call 3-bets, but I think I'm going to float him here. I have some turn cards that give me more equity, and I suppose, yeah, he has some rundowns, but I blocked rundowns, so I suppose he has higher cards. And on the turn, do I bet or do I? When I bet, I don't represent much, so I'm actually checking and seeing if the river helps me. And I have to bet here. I bet sort of big. I represent King Queen now, and I hope he folds his weaker hands, and he did. Here Nicholas has bet twice small, which indicates some sort of draw, and the queen is not good, but he had a7. It's too bad the flush came there, so I can't really value bet my straight. I'm going to call because Kyyberi is going to call and I have position on majors. And there's ace on the flop, so it sucks. Although I have the not blockers, but he's shoving the flop, so there's nothing I can do. On this flop there's not much we can do but hope for a free turn card. We have only one blocker. But I think when all of them check, I'm going to stab here. Because I'm betting into 3 people, so it's tough for anyone to call me very lightly, and it's sort of nightmare for anyone to even think about check raising. And I hit the flush on the river, and I think it's a check back as the board pairs. There's not much value in betting. And he bets rest of his stack. The only hands I beat are pretty much 10 high flush. And he so often has higher flush and the board pairs, so if he has a set 2 pairs, he made a full house. So even if it's only half a pot, I'm going to fold this. Which kind of sucks, but nothing you can do. So now we have set out on every table. Let's wait for the hand to finish and set out the next one. I'm going to see how did things go today. And we ended up losing around $24. I can't show you the graph easily because I have to filter out some of the games I played earlier today myself. But basically on PLO50 we lost $80 and on PLO25 we won $55. So PLO25 was good, we won nice spots, and PLO50 we actually lost. It's those almost those 2 pots that we lost to the Fishy players that ended up in our losing. So not a winning session either this week, but $20 is not that much. Hopefully we can book winnings next week. I didn't mark any hands, surprise, so we don't really have anything to review. Please let me know what you think about these coachings. You can write a post to the forums. There's a thread for the feedback. It's always nice to see, as yesterday on a Finnish poker evening we talked a lot about getting feedback, and the fact is that coaches don't get feedback that much, almost at all. So if you have any feedback in your mind, please let us know. We would appreciate it much. But there's nice conversation going on in the chat. Please continue it. I'm going off now. Thanks guys for joining. And if you are watching this on YouTube or you are watching stream and you are not member of our Pokerimania, please join and give something to our community. That's for today. We'll continue on the next week. Have a fun Thursday evening. Bye bye.